Hi, I'm Morgan Hines. I'm here in the Phocuswire studio at Phocuswright Europe with Robert Wesley of MeProtocol and Mark Ross Smith of Loyalty Status Co. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
So we're going to chat a little bit about the evolution of loyalty and the changing face of loyalty today, which I know you're both very well versed in. So can you each take a minute to share a little bit about what your company does?
Sure.
You can start.
Yeah, so our company is called the MeProtocol, and we connect rewards programs. So loyalty rewards, points, miles. When they connect to our infrastructure, you can use them across any business that's connected. So if airline miles from one company, you can go buy a scarf in Milan for your loved one.
Cool. Loyalty Status Co. We're all about driving the next $100 billion in ancillary revenue for loyalty programs. We focus on high-value customer acquisition for major airline hotel brands, and basically creating products that customers love and want to buy. So we focus on the top 5% of customers globally.
Okay, cool. So I want to talk a little bit about blockchain. Robert, where does blockchain play into loyalty? I know you've got a view on this too, so we'll have you weigh in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we do have a blockchain technology in our infrastructure, but it's very well hidden.
Yeah.
So you don't see this as a customer or a business. We use it for several reasons. So first of all, to allow transactions across different brands where they don't have to communicate with each other. They don't have to negotiate partnerships, whatever. Just the currency of their reward can be redeemable across the whole system. Okay. It also is transparent, traceable, reduces fraud. So for us, it's just a tech selection that makes the most sense for interoperating rewards.
Okay. And what's your take?
I kind of agree. Is a sort of back-end tech thing to drive efficiencies in some areas. I think from a consumer perspective, you don't really see it, notice it. To be frank, probably don't care either. But if it can drive some sort of innovation in the back end, I think this can be really powerful for some of the programs.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about innovation. What has struck each of you about kind of what you've seen in the loyalty space that's truly innovative that you've seen recently?
Well, I think from an innovation perspective, loyalty has traditionally been very slow. So just to throw that out there from the beginning, it's antiquated. People are stuck in these long accrual programs where you have to earn points over a long period of time. You don't get any immediate value for it. So solutions that allow you to immediately use rewards for us are really the future. It conforms with younger generations' desire to be immediately gratified and get value out of the rewards. Yeah. This is where we're seeing a lot of the best action right now.
Okay.
I take a little different view in that if I look at the last sort of 5 or 10 years and use that to try and project the next 5 or 10 years, not a lot has really changed. Not a lot might not change. I think if we look at as humans, like what drives us to be loyal or choose one brand or one thing over another, it hasn't really changed in the last, I don't know, hundreds of years. And so loyalty, tradition, especially in travel, was kind of set up, the structure was set up decades ago to meet our emotional needs back then. And we haven't really changed that much as people. We still want the same kind of stuff. We still want to feel good. We still want the recognition. We still want the status. And that still applies today more than ever before. So in some ways, you could argue you don't need innovation in some areas because they kind of nailed it back then. Not saying you don't need innovation, but there's a large part you could argue that it does a pretty good job.
What would you say is the biggest driver for loyalty?
Status. Elite status.
Elite status.
By far.
Okay. And I mean, you mentioned the younger generation, and they seem to be, a lot of them leaning towards more immediate gratification, which I'm sure has a lot to do with how social media plays in and with a lot of immediacy. If they're leaning towards more instant reward system, do you think points-based loyalty is dying out, or maybe you don't think so? What do you think? And if I want to hear what you think too.
It's not dying out, but I think some of the old ways of employing it as a tool for loyalty just completely missed the mark in terms of the younger generations. Actually, instant gratification is not something that is just confined to a younger generation. We all want to be instantly rewarded. We want to find value out of what we do. So I don't think there's a dramatic change there from a market perspective.
Okay. And what do you think about points? And
Yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah.
The younger generation typically want that instant gratification. They like, I took an action, what do I get?
Yeah.
And they want to see that straight away. Whereas, as you kind of get older, you can kind of delay that gratification. Like, I want to save up for something better. Because
Yeah.
we're used to saving. We're saving for a car, saving for a house. We're saving
Yeah.
for like the next thing. And we kind of get used to having a bit of a balance there.
So then does your behavior inclination toward loyalty reflect maturity in a way? Is that what you're saying?
So in some ways, as you get older, you might get a better job.
Yeah.
So you're in a better job. You're traveling more. Your body starts to wear down. You want a bigger seat. You want to stretch out a little bit, and so your needs in life change. And so suddenly, status and lounge access and the non-points currency side of it become more valuable to you, just as you sort of progress in your career and this stuff. Whereas when you're younger, it's like, what do I get right now?
Yeah.
I want the coffee right now. I don't want the airline points. I want this thing over here. So there's different motivators for different people and their based on their age, demographics, stuff like that.
Yeah, I do check how many points I've gotten on each flight after I've taken them, but we don't have to go into that. With that in mind, obviously the younger generation is coming up and is a bigger spending category as people get older and have better jobs. Is there anything that's happening in the loyalty space that you're seeing evolution towards adapting to that generation's tastes?
I think you see attempts. I mean, if we're talking in travel and hospitality in particular, you see attempts at like jumping on fads. I guess is like the major effort that they make. Whether this was like an NFT collection back when that was like trending, or it's some like social media influencer that they're trying to get to promote them. It's more like fad-like.
Yeah.
In terms of like a fundamental or structural change around trying to adjust that generation, I think the industry is very slow to adapt. Yeah.
How do you think that AI can play into rewards? Changing gears a little bit here. I mean, there's machines making optimized choices. We might have agent-to-agent communication. What if they're not taking into consideration loyalty programs that you're a part of? How does that work?
Yeah. So we are building AI agents.
Yeah.
So first we built the infrastructure that allows the AI agents to actually make use of rewards and understand the rewards programs. Then we have two agents. So one is an internal agent that allows you as a business to optimize your rewards program. So knowing when to distribute rewards, know to who, being able to profile and target specific personas with rewards to activate them. And the other is people don't like spending a lot of time with rewards. And so it's like, okay, I check my balance. How can I use them? If I can't use them on anything, I forget them. So being able to activate them, showing them how they can actually use their reward points at any given moment is what we do with an AI agent.
Okay.
And so it's really critical for businesses to be able to allow their programs, their loyalty programs, to be accessible from external agents. Because if they can't, the external agent is not going to promote their product or service to their consumer. And so it's really, I think, important for businesses to really consider how exposable their rewards program is and how interpretable it is to external agents now.
Okay. And how are you seeing AI?
I think there's a lot of really brilliant applications for AI in marketing.
Yeah.
So loyalty marketing and travel.
Okay.
To be more personalized, more hyper-targeted, stuff I really want, trying to anticipate what is trending on social media, so for the younger audience, right? What's trending? What are people talking about? What do I want to book today?
Yeah.
What instant reward? Because I see this cool thing in China, this cafe I want to go there now. So there's amazing application for that. If I take a little bit of a step back, travel industry at its heart, its soul is a human connection. And you don't want to program AI to kind of get involved in this. It's the person to person outreach. It's we're having a real conversation. It's not through a video. It's not online. You might see Mark Cuban recently said that he thinks that of all the AI and all these videos and stuff that are out there, in a few years, you're not going to know what's real and what's not. And what he thinks that will drive it'll drive more travel because it'll drive people to want to meet in real life.
Have more exposure to other people.
I know you're real. You're not. Are you? Hello? Are you there?
I think so. Yeah.
And so,
I hope so.
it'll drive that relationships with, between people, the bonding, the talking, the sort of the connection that we are inherently built within our DNA. And I think that's really what loyalty is all about. It's about driving all that stuff. So I see this great application for AI over here, but at, the soul of everything that travel really stands for, I see the human element, maybe shining brighter than ever before because of AI.
Okay. So in both perspectives here, you both kind of touched on personalization and where that plays in. And so it seems like often the idea of loyalty and personalization go hand in hand. How accurate is that perception, and is that concept working? Does loyalty need to be personalized to work?
It doesn't need to be personalized to work, but it's going to work a lot better if it is.
Okay.
And so there's been a lot of attempts to try to personalize rewards. Not very inventive, but like AI has been contributing to this for a long time. Like being able to profile you as you enter a website to do a booking. They can already understand and do a clustering analysis of you. So basically trying to determine your demographics, your preferences, and then trying to push offers to you. So this is old machine learning technology that we've used before. With the advent of AI, there becomes more concrete touch points with the consumer. So you can understand a lot more data about the behavioral preferences of the consumer. And that data can be exposed in certain ways to the business to help them better target and prioritize. I think everyone wants that level of personalization. I guess with your 5% of the top earners, your focus, obviously they want some level of personalization. They want some level of feeling like they're valued as a customer. So I think this is going to continue, and it's just going to get the degree, what we can do in terms of personalization is just going to get more and more granular.
Okay.
I think personalization traditionally been seen as like how do we personalize to make more money?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's about driving you to buy something new, that incremental thing, the extra add-on, the extra something. Well, if we look at the other approach, like how can we bring more joy to people's life? How do we actually give them something they want? It may not always be about trying to get them to put their credit card down,
Yeah.
It's the personalization, like when you, for example, the other day, I checked into a hotel, and as I walked in, it was raining like crazy as I was walking in, and I was drenched.
Oh no.
Bags are wet, I'm like wet, and the staff, they come running up with towels, and they're like, "Oh, we can help you, sir." And I thought, hey, this is really nice. That is personalization.
Yeah.
They've seen a circumstance that I'm in, and they want to help. And this kind of goes back to the soul part of travel, like really wanting to help people and doing all that. And so I would argue that is much more a personalization than, seeing would you like to add on breakfast to your hotel stay for an extra $39, and guess which one I'm telling the story about? It's not the breakfast add-on. It's the beautiful story about how the staff went to come and try and help one of their guests.
Yeah. It seems like both are applicable in different ways, so that makes a lot of sense. Robert, I know you're targeting universal loyalty. So how does a program like that work with so many varying initiatives and programs across the globe?
Mm-hmm. So the key is to provide value to each program that's participating. So we focus on allowing customers from a business to immediately access products and services that they want and they love. And we allow that business to touch that consumer during that process. And so there's always a loyalty touch point, no matter where the customer is spending their points or miles. In the same respect, they're attracting new customers through the whole ecosystem. So that value is being shared, and it's a positive ROI for all the participants. So in terms of like management, the management of that ecosystem is done through very sophisticated technology, which takes like the need for humans to broker transactions out of the equation. Mm-hmm. It also takes the need to do partnership development, which is a big pain point we know from the industry. You don't have to increase headcount. You plug and play your system, and everything is what's called a trustless system. Okay. So you just plug, and then the system takes care of the transaction for him. Okay, so I think from that like cumulative value perspective, it's a very strong proposition. You don't want to be left out of that system because it's economically a positive ROI, and it doesn't break your existing rewards program.
Okay. So obviously you both have a lot of knowledge around this space. So where do you think some travel brands are going wrong with loyalty? What areas could be improved?
Status, obviously. Like you could, in airlines and hotels, there's been a lot of focus on points and miles for a long time, and rightly so, because it's the bedrock of the financial stability for these. Like that's the credit card points. There's a lot of money there. What has been sort of a little left out in the cold is the status. Is the status side. I'm not just saying that because that's what we do, but it's actually true, because in a big airline, you might have a team of 50 people focused on the points and miles stuff, and people on status might be a team of 2. But the status is driving 20-30% of revenue. So it's like, well, hang on, why the imbalance here? And so I think if brands focus more on the status side, which is it's the top customers, they spend more often, they're what we call the right type of money. It's high margin money. A lot of business travel is there. I think a slight focus on those a little bit more, on the status tier a bit more, could draw some of these, especially the younger generation, up into the tiers, which means they're going to become longer and better customers over their sort of life cycle as a customer. So I see some easy wins really in loyalty around the status. Not just airlines or hotels, but OTAs, everyone in the ecosystem sort of playing on that. Look at the airlines that do really well in this status stuff. Learn from them.
I think if we're talking about within travel and hospitality, and of course we deal also with retail and financial institutions as well, but specifically in travel and hospitality, I think there's been, like, over time, this degradation of a customer-centric approach to loyalty, and especially on the reward side, which is what we deal with. So it's about arbitrage, and so like the whole program becomes like, how do we like reduce liabilities to a certain extent and maximize our arbitrage on these rewards transactions, without, in a traditional sense, outside of the sector, you would focus on the customer. Like, how do we drive value to the actual customer there? And it's not arbitrage. So it's like a different play. How do we get them engaged? Are they going to be loyal to our brand? Especially in an industry where there's very low switching cost, you need to be able to engender some type of loyalty through a different mechanism there. So I think that's requiring a fundamental rethink of where is the position of the actual customer, the consumer, in the loyalty equation.
Yeah.
And I think this is, sometimes when you're in an industry for so long and rewards have been around for such a long time, you become extremely biased to today is how it is because that's how it always shall be. But the reality is, if you're not adjusting over time, then someone's going to cut you out eventually.
Yeah, and I know we're a little limited on time now, but I did just want to ask you both, where do you see, and we're going to keep this really brief because we are running out of time, but if you could give me a sentence answer, where do you see loyalty going in the next 5 years?
I see loyalty also probably as less of a transactional nature. I think we've digressed into more transaction with cashback systems and things like that, to a much more engagement-focused loyalty. And it may be enabled by tools such as like AI agents. I don't think that there's a disintermediation there between like humans. I think it's a tool to bring sort of humans together. And I'd like to see a lot more interaction with the customer on the loyalty side, especially with rewards, using the rewards as a tool to incentivize further engagement with the business.
Very cool. All right.
I think it's correct. It's all about the human element and the emotion that loyalty is what it's designed to do. It's designed to make you feel good about taking that action.
Yeah.
And so I think less focus on transactional is definitely the way it's going. It's been very, you earn this, you get this. But you put a little bit of personalization in there, suddenly it's like you do this, and then how does it make you feel? And then what does that lead into? What's the next thing that leads into? That could be points, miles, status. It could be money can't buy type adventures, or all sorts of amazing stuff. So I'm super optimistic about the future of loyalty. I think we're in a really good spot as an industry right now. I think there's a lot we've learned from. And I think the opportunity for the future is so immense, so great, that I think more brands are going to get into this space.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, both of you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.